Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on August 11th, 2023 at approximately 4:24 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind you that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the precise same tools that I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the exact same philosophies I personally guide my day-to-day life by. With this in mind, and with over 100,000 clients under my belt, I can honestly tell you the tools we're talking about are not just something that may work. They are something that has had literally incredible success for individuals, for thousands upon thousands of individuals, based on their own personal efforts. Now, we are going to ask you to disregard a lot of what you've been taught, okay, and just hear out the possibilities. Now, right off the bat, before I get into it, because we're going to talk about manifest destiny and just exactly how you can take your so-called manifest destiny and reclaim it as your own. But I'll help you understand that first, at least from what I know. Now, I'm not perfect by any functional stretch. But before we go any further, we have Steve Knox in here with the gold. Crystal J, how you doing? You've come in with the silver. And Emmy Tonga, once again, is in with the bronze. Okay, now, we're getting off to a real quick start here. I'm barely 3 minutes into the stream, and we've already got 6 in the chat room. This is great. Well, 5, 6. It's starting to change. Okay. So, what we're looking at is this. Your life, all of you are in exactly the same position that I'm personally in. Okay, you've all got your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own dreams, but each and every single one of you is right here, right now. And this is where change starts. Not tomorrow, not next week. It didn't start last week. And it's certainly not in the hands of the so-called elite, the powers that be, the government, the educators, your churches. Nobody controls it. You do. Okay. I control my destiny. You control yours. And I will get to explaining that. Okay, but let us understand something. First of all, I said that I did say in the title here, your manifest destiny. What is it? Well, to manifest is to create something. Okay, now your destiny, people assume that this means, never mind assume, you've been taught this means that your destiny is something beyond your control. Okay. Well, change the word destiny just half a moment, or just a syllable. Instead of destiny, what about changing your thought process? And we have Joe Stewart is in here with honorable mention. How you doing, Joe? Glad you could join us. Now, if we take destiny and shift it just a little to destination, and most people presume that destination is a physical place. Destiny is a spiritual place. What would you do if I told you they are the same thing? Okay, they are the same location. You've got the ability to reclaim that. Okay, boy, talk about a shiny forehead, eh? See, this is my third eye, just glowing like no tomorrow. Not quite, but it'll work with it. Okay, now, let's start with the idea your destiny, your destination is what you choose to co-create. I call it co-creation because whatever you're doing, it's going to affect the people around you. Okay, it's just a natural side effect. There was a game back in the 80s, I think it was, called Domino Rally. Now, some of you may recall said game. Okay, and what it boiled down to was you stand up a whole bunch of dominoes, whole bunch of, bricks, whole bunch of cigarette boxes, didn't matter, a whole bunch of cereal boxes. Stand them up, you push one over, and it knocks down the whole pile of others. And you can pattern it so it changes all kinds of things, designing any pattern you can conceive. Okay, they used to have competitions with it. Well, here's a competition for you. We're going to take your life from where it is, more to the point, we're going to turn the lights on. Chad, how you doing? Glad you could join us. We're going to turn the lights on, and you get to take your life and push over that first domino, and you start changing the world so you manifest the destiny you desire. Okay, now, I'm not just talking, this isn't just a question of talking about what other people say you can accomplish. Now, I said, I've told you guys, I'm building an empire. I'm not interested in just settling for a second fiddle anymore. But before I get into this, we have Chad in the house. And this is the stream. This is the link to Chad's live stream, or at least the archives. Not entirely certain if you've got new ones up and running yet, Chad, but by the feel of it, you've started. Now, Chad, all you guys, I really do appreciate your joining me and sharing your time with me. For the ones of you that have a YouTube stream of your own, my best way of helping you, because I usually don't get back into the streams. Okay, my best way of helping is to take your stream address and popping it in and saying, here. Now, in this case, go take a look at what Chad has to say. If you like what he says, give him a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of it. Now, the same applies here, okay? And I will tell you, when I get done this stream tonight, I'm going to give that new program of mine a shot. I've got to update my system first, and then take a look at it. And Shadow is in the house. Shadow and Son, how are you doing? And guys, again, this is the link to Shadow's room, to Shadow's live stream. Give it a listen. If you like what he has to say, do subscribe to the channel. Do give him a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of it. It's time we start co-creating a world that we can all be really happy and really proud of. Okay, enough sitting back listening to somebody tell you the world's going to end. We're all going to die. We're all suffering. We're all different. There's so much war in the world. How about we end the whole concept of war? Okay, how about if we start looking at how similar we really are? I would lay odds. Every single one of you likes to be respected, likes to be heard, prefers having a roof over your head, food in your stomach. Okay, I'd lay odds. Most of you put your pants on the same way, one leg at a time. If you're tired, you sleep. If you're happy, you laugh or smile at least. Of course, some of us are really happy and just keep a straight face. Okay, if you're sad, you frown or maybe you cry. All people are essentially the same way. There are exceptions, absolutely. Okay, very few people enjoy watching others suffer. Okay, but it's time to decide. I agree with you there, Shadow. Shadow just piped up. He goes, heck, even if you don't like it, sub it anyway. Absolutely, and this is what I tell you guys. If you like the stream that I'm producing here, absolutely, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. Give it to all your friends. Heck, give it to all your enemies. The reality is, it's time to make reality happen the way we desire, instead of the way that we're being taught and re-educated for it to fail. Football, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, I figure what the heck. Let's try a sugar rush. See if we can cause another heart attack. What do you think? Good idea or not? The neat part about this is when we talk about manifesting your destiny, we are talking about building it. Okay. Now, you talk about a manifest when you're going on a trip. Let's take a look at the manifest on the flight. Well, here's an idea. Funny thing, notepad. Now, yes, I realize that's from the dark ages. Most people use computers. But I'm still very much a dinosaur. We're not going to get into that, Shadow. We'll just leave that to everybody else's imagination. What do you think? I knew an Oriental kid one day, and he was right out in, like, he literally grew up in Japan. Only when I met him, he wore a kilt. Okay. And when I asked him about it, he wasn't Scottish by any functional stretch. He didn't have any heritage in the British Isles at all. And I asked him, I says, why, pray tell, are you wearing a kilt? His immediate comment, he says, I wanted to be different. I looked at my mission accomplished. Now, I am Scottish. I'm actually second generation Canadian, but my heritage is Scottish. And there ain't no way I'm wearing a kilt. And you'll be happy to know I'm not about to learn to play bagpipes either. I still love the sound of bagpipes, but not in the hands of an amateur. Quite honestly, I know they got to learn somewhere, but it does sound like you're throttling a cat if you don't know how to play them. Now, let us see here. I'm going to try not to hurt myself. Doesn't always work out that way. Okay. Couple of things. Let's see. We bring up here. And we go. This funny little file here. Okay. This is what's called the physical representation of manifestation. Now, I've got a neat little file here. IVE, Inner Voice Enterprises, Expand 2023. So, and do understand, this applies to you. Let's say you've got a business you desire to grow. Okay, this will work. If your business is just simply a household, the most important business on the planet is the household. Okay. So, what I'm talking about, what is that? I do not like that funny thing there. So we take that and we delete that because I don't need it anymore. Okay. Now, when you take a look at that, the household is the thing that we've got to focus on because we're being taught to separate from everybody. Grab one of these silly things. Everybody in your household, grab one of these silly things. First of all, right there, you're chipped. But what we're being taught is draw yourself into this silly little monster and don't talk to the people around you. Rely on this to communicate. We've got programs that do the writing for you. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what. And I can't do this, but I'm just making a point here. Back in the 70s, there was a neat little show called Mork and Mindy. Now, Mork had a brilliant way of drinking. He'd take a glass of whatever, and he'd stick his finger in it and drink from the bottle with his finger. All life is not the same way. Okay, it is not the same design as humans have. But the building of it is done the same way, regardless of where you're from. How you doing, Henry? Glad you could join. And apparently football actually watched Mork and Mindy as well. Okay, and I believe you'll recognize the term shazbot, which, by the way, I think was a low grade swear word. Okay, but the important thing here is this. We're going to get you started on manifesting your reality. Now, this is where this comes into play. If you haven't already got this, okay, some people call it a list of operations and procedures. I call it a policy book. Actually, this one doesn't have a policy book written out, I don't think. Maybe it does. What have we got? It is so. Okay. First thing we do is this. Okay. Now, for your life, okay, let's take the first step in manifesting. So let's ask one thing. Are you content with the way your life is right this moment? If you are, this is fantastic. Stay put. Kind of like the idea of the red pill and the blue pill, you know, from the Matrix and from the Matrix system. Now, if you're content with where you are, you probably aren't listening to me. And that might be a good idea. I don't know. But draw up a mission statement for yourself. Now, this is actually not for my life, but for the business I'm building. Okay. Inner Voice Enterprises is what I'm creating. I'm building an empire, and that's just the way that is. I'm not doing it by the way that everybody says. I'm not about to start looking down on people unless I'm standing physically above them, or maybe I'm taller. Maybe I'm standing up and you're sitting down. In a case where I'm physically at a higher elevation, I will look down on whoever isn't. But they tell me it's lonely at the top. So I'm not going to the top alone. I'm taking every single one of you with me that desires to go. This is why I'm putting out a newsletter called Positive Perspectives. That's only part of what I'm doing. It, as well as this stream, will not be charged for. Okay, just not happening. So when and this is going to have to be, tied. It's going to have to be smoothed out. But as I've got it written right now, my reason for building the publishing company is simple. To provide worldwide quality, affordable publishing services to all prospective authors and artists. Now, do understand, an artist is not just somebody that draws or somebody that paints. A poet is an artist. A singer or an actor are artists. I'm planning on going after the whole 9 yards. I'm not dealing with this idea of, I'm a tiny little company. I can't do it unless I know somebody famous. Okay, let me put it this way. Let's put fame in perspective. There is something called the rule of 6, meaning between you and every single person on the planet, there's only 6 people apart. Okay, as in, you're there. You know somebody. They know somebody who knows somebody else who knows another person who finally knows the 6th one in line. And that 6th one already knows you to start with. Okay, which means you're all equally famous, equally powerful, equally talented. Well, talented, you'll change. It depends on who you are. But the first thing we got to do is this neat little sign here. Okay, I know I've shown it to you before. It's called redundancy. Of course, when you were learning to speak, you were constantly, if you think about it, and most parents do this, say mama, say dada. They keep repeating this. Well, I'm telling you, say, I am worth it. Take this sign, okay, or more to the point, make one of your own, because there's only one of these. But take a sign like this, put it on your fridge freezer. Okay. The reason for that is because the fridge is the one appliance in the house that virtually everybody that walks into your kitchen will look at, regardless of what's written there, whether it's just the emblem. Virtually everybody, you walk into a kitchen, you read whatever's on the fridge. Maybe it's pictures. Maybe it's a drawing that your kid made. Maybe it's a drawing you made. Okay, but everybody looks at it. Now, those 4 words, I am worth it, will reinforce your own concept as well as everybody else's that reads that. And Shadow, you're absolutely right. Shadow's going, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Okay. So, from that standpoint, everybody, Miranda Lambert put it really well. She goes, everybody's famous in a small town. Everybody knows what you're doing, whether you're late for church, whether you're late to work. Maybe you got a new girlfriend. Maybe you got drunk for the first time. But in a small town, everybody knows what you're up to. Newsflash, enter social media. I say something on the screen here, and somebody on the other side of the planet knows what I'm saying. I do something that I film on, that I post on screen in the way of a video. And somebody over in China knows what I've been up to. So we're all famous. These people that are sitting there at the top of the box office, yeah, they make better money than you do in all likelihood. If not, let me know how you pulled it off. But we desire to manifest a better world. It's time to get off our tail feathers and make it happen. Sugar rush, time for a heart attack. No, I'm not going to do that. Tried that before. Didn't like it much. Actually, I'm not sure if I didn't like it. I know I didn't like the stroke. But, and what do we got here? Joe goes, I watched a short YouTube video from Nathan on the day of his show. He talked about a ghost encounter he had, and said he saw a face in the cemetery. Cemeteries are a lot of fun, but I recommend you don't go tap dancing on somebody's grave. It's not necessarily respectful, if you will. Okay. But what we have to realize is each and every one of you has the capacity to make a world-changing impact on the society around you by simply looking in the mirror and going, I'm not content with the way my life is, therefore I'm changing it. Okay, so when we talk about manifesting, we talk about this idea of going, okay, what am I not content with? Now, this is what I'm doing. This neat little form here is concerning starting a publishing company, which is only part of the program I'm working on. Okay. Now, that said, then I've got policies here. Okay. Policies being, and all your policies have to do with your life. Whenever you make a choice, okay, literally, okay, like for instance, bill paying. My policy, the policy is, okay, let's think that through. When we look at putting a policy down, you require what the policy is, the date and time you made the policy, and why you made the policy. Then every 3 or 4 months, I recommend every 3 months, every quarter, go back over your list of policies, make sure they still fit with where you see yourself going, because you don't have to know where your future is heading. You have to know where your future is. Okay. And you simply have to decide, are you content with your future? Now, you can certainly go back, go sit in front of a screen, in front of somebody standing behind a pulpit telling you the world's going to end, you're all going to die, there's a real tiny number of you that's going to get lifted up because you're special. Ain't going to happen, guys. Okay, hate to tell you this. It's a wonderful dream, and absolutely work towards a better future. You're all going to die. They are right about this. Every one of you is, myself included. Lord knows I've had a lot of practice. But it's not the question of, are you going to die? Now, you can ask, well, how am I going to die? Well, your heart's going to stop in the long run. Okay. What leads up to it, though, that's the challenge. Are you going to continue living your life in fear, or are you going to start living your life with excitement? Are you going to get happy and get excited about what your life can do? Okay, what you can accomplish and what kind of a mark you can leave behind you. Okay, I recommend not leaving skid marks. And you know the idea, live fast, die young, leave a good-looking corpse. I'm telling you, I've seen people that live fast, died young, and they were not leaving a good-looking corpse. Because I'll tell you, realistically, the fall doesn't kill you. It's that sudden stop on the ground floor that causes the problem. You hit the wall at 5 miles an hour, and you might, if you're walking, you may get a bloody nose or something. You hit it at 50 miles an hour, you're leaving a mark, and it's not a good looking one. It's kind of funny, talk about going sideways. Here's a neat little concept. You fall, 500 feet. The difference between landing on the ground and landing in the water is pretty much non-existent. Okay, but here's the difference. You fall 500 feet and land on the water. Okay, you'll break every bone in your body. You'll ruin all your organs. Absolutely. Okay, you fall 500 feet and land on the ground. The odds are you'll break all your bones, ruin a lot of your organs, but you'll split the skin and you'll be all over the place. That's the difference. Now, everybody's going to make an impact in life. The question I got for you is, are you going to make an impact in your life that other people look at and go, I'm inspired to do something with mine? Or, gee, that was a cute thought, but I think I'll go do something else. Okay, now I've fallen down enough stairs to tell you falling downstairs is not a lot of fun. Okay, it's great if you're watching it on a movie and they show a stunt person who trains for years to fall downstairs safely, and even they break their bones. But the question you got to ask, how are you going to live your life? Are you going to leave this world in better shape than when you got here? Okay, or are you creating something that is going to leave people feeling miserable, oppressed, depressed, repressed, whatever you want to call it? Okay, the choice is yours. And I will tell you, war ain't going to do it. War will not bring peace. Now, let me ask you this. Of you guys, girls, whatever you want to call yourselves, of the viewers here, whether they are in the house right now or whether you're listening later, do you feel that becoming a millionaire, as in $1 million in your hand, would make your life easier? Okay. Just a curiosity, it really boils down. That's fantastic there, football. Football goes, my mother inspires me feeding the homeless. Okay. Now, I will tell you, I've worked out the balance point for my company. Okay, for Inner Enterprises. I may end up opening another company. It depends on what the tax specialists recommend. But here's the thing. I've worked things out where 80% of my net profit will go back to the community, either directly to the consumer, to the contributor, to the employee, or to charity. But where it comes to charity, that charity will the administration costs for that charity will go straight through my company. None of the charity money will go to admin. Okay, who do you get your inspiration from when you're manifesting your world, the world you desire to live in? You've got a choice. Are you going to manifest manifest a world where you're content, where you're evolving into something that you consider a better version of you? Or are you developing a reputation that upsets everybody? Now, I know for an absolute certainty, I make everybody I meet, every one of you, happy. Okay? Some of you I'll make happy by showing up. Most people I meet, I make happy by leaving. Okay? Because I'm not, I will tell you, I'm going to question your version of reality. Okay? And I do desire you to think about this. Whether you do or not, that's your call. Okay? Now, something to keep in mind. This neat little map back here. Okay, this map right here shows, this circle shows our solar system right smack in the middle of it. And from what I understand, this map actually shows what is literally there within a 30 light year, a 30 light year range from Earth, from our solar system. Okay, and apparently that particular map is accurate from an astronomical standpoint. Okay, now I will tell you, I've talked to a millionaire one day, and he says, "Look, money will not buy you happiness, but it will afford to let you to look for it in a lot more places." Okay, and remember, when I'm talking about life policies, this applies to your life, your business, your education. Doesn't matter what it is. It's what you put as a priority. And remember your 3 karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Lay out the policies you're content with. Okay. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Treat people the way you desire them to treat you. Okay. And 3, energy out, energy in. Meaning whatever you put the effort into, that's the energy you're pulling back towards you. It does not guarantee an easy life. It doesn't guarantee that you will reach the top. But it does stack the deck in favor of it. And YouTube University, how you doing? Glad you could join us. The funny thing about it is and thank you so much for that, YouTube. I really do appreciate that. I question a lot of the time, people saying you're nuts. And I'm looking at it going, maybe I am. But I asked every psychiatrist, every consultant I could find, every student of psychology. I asked them all the same thing. How do you know if you're losing your mind? Okay. And, without exception, they've given me the exact same answer. Okay. All of them have agreed on the same thing. If you're still questioning, are you losing your mind? You're not. Because as they all put it, if you were losing your mind, you wouldn't be asking. Okay. Now I tell you, I still question in spite of the number of people that have come to me and said, hey, you're actually talking truth. Okay. The reality is the reason I don't lie, number one, I don't desire others to lie to me. Okay. But I can't remember what I said yesterday. Never mind what I said 6 years ago. If I stick to the truth, I don't have to remember. Am I going to upset somebody? You bet. Okay. And I will say it again. All that I do, thou shalt do and more. And all that means is if I can do it, if one person can make it happen, everybody's got a shot at it. No matter, well, there is a limit. Okay. For instance, you see somebody riding a unicycle on a high wire. Okay. Now, somebody riding a unicycle on a high wire, you can't say everybody can do it because I will guarantee, and I don't guarantee much, but somebody with no legs is not riding a unicycle. Okay. Not going to happen. But there are other things they can do. Okay. So it really is a question of if I can pull it off, so can you. But remember, I've had a lot of years of doing this, which means you may not be able to do it in the same fashion. And whatever you do not compete with me on one level. Somebody out there has probably done it more often. But I've been clinically dead, confirmed 4 times before I hit 10 years old. 5 times where other people that were not registered medical people brought me back. And 1 that is still up in the air. So I've already died at least 9 and possibly 10 times. Okay. With this in mind, don't try and compete with that number. I'm telling you, it's rough on the system. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, okay? You look at your first and foremost, you look at what you desire your life to look at, but do not put it in I want. Take the word want and the word need and throw them out of your vocabulary. Okay, yes, it is common, it makes total sense, but you're also hindering yourself because talking about what you want and what you need, what you're saying to the universe is I desire to experience a lack of whatever the item is. Net result, the universe or God gives back you exactly what you're asking for, a feeling of lack. And then you sit there and go, but I said I wanted money. And the universe looks at it and goes, yeah, we heard. You said, I desire to experience a lack of money. We gave you that. What are you complaining about? Okay, so get straight in your own head. Are you content with your life? I was talking to somebody today about where their world is. Suggestion there. What's your definition? Nice there, Philip. First and foremost, by the way, Philip, welcome aboard. What do we got here? See, the neat little thing here is this. I look at weather and go, whether we've got rain, sun, whether it's rain, sun, windy, hotter than heck, snow on the ground. I prefer it with no ice on the ground, but here's the thing. We every single day have nice weather. And here's why I say so. Weather behaves the way that it was educated to do so. It's nice. It does exactly what it's intending. But here's the other thing. You want a bad day? Try a day with no weather, which, by the way, means we don't have atmosphere. You'll have a really miserable 8 minutes, and then you're dead. And that's assuming you can hold your breath that long. This is the thing you have to look at. But we also have to remember, this world, the reason it's in chaos right now is the amount of negativity people are focusing on. This is why I say when you listen to something positive or something negative, listen to something and listen to twice as much. If it's 1 minute of negativity, listen to 2 minutes of positivity. If it's an hour of negativity, listen to 2 hours of positivity. The reason for that is it changes the energy flow and makes it a much more enjoyable world. Now, there are videos all over YouTube that show animals that are normally adversaries helping each other. Is it not time? Is it not time for humans to look at each other and go, okay, you're a human. Let's treat you decent. Let's treat you the way that I desire to be treated. Okay, don't care what your skin color is. Don't care who you're crawling into bed with. I literally had to tell a chap one day, I said, look, I said, he asked me if I was upset that he was gay. I looked at him, I went, why would I be upset that you're gay? He says, well, you're not. I said, no, I'm not. I said, let me ask you this. Are you upset that I'm heterosexual? He goes, well, no. I says, and why do I care what you are? I said, I will even politely handle a single pass from somebody. But once I've said no, once I've said no, leave it alone, or I'm not likely to be quite that polite. World, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And let us find out where world is. Okay, and we go copy this. And we go pop this in place. And guys, this is the link to World Stream. Okay, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel. Okay, and then share the daylights out of it. And like we said a little earlier, whether it's to people you like or don't like, it doesn't matter. Okay. The important part here is the people that I put the streams on are people I've checked out their channels, that I've personally checked their channels out and decided, yeah, these are good people. They've got a good message. Not always the same as mine. And let rest assured, I'm not perfect. You know, if I were perfect, rest assured I wouldn't be stuck on this mud ball. Okay. But you know, my sharing the links is my way of saying thank you so much for your sharing your time with me. Here's the most effective way I can do it. JCL, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Just see if I missed anybody here. Yeah, I just noticed here Philip was also going, you know, you said earlier, weather that's nice, you know, nice to experience. Not too hot, not too cold. Well, actually, he says not too hot. Also, not on fire. I prefer to avoid destructive fire. Yeah, fire doesn't bother me too much, but I'm certainly not interested in dying by one. Being burned by them is enough. Dying by it is a whole different ballgame. But again, for those of you that have joined us and haven't been here before, if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and please share the daylights out of it. We really have to, like, it's time for me to step out of the shadows and really start pushing this issue that we can turn this world around, regardless of who is sitting in power right now, as in who the prime ministers are, who the current presidents or current leaders are. Doesn't matter. Wherever you are in the world, understand they are doing what they can with what they've learned. This does not mean they're perfect, but it does mean listen to what they're saying. If you agree with what they're saying, okay, then absolutely make that choice. The important factor here is you have the freedom of choice to make your world what you desire. Now, here's something funny here, Philip. Okay, and this was something that happened about 20, maybe 25 years ago. I don't know. Somebody else can check the dates. Okay. You know, here's the thing. Back about 20, 25 years ago, in Sweden, the government said, okay, the sex industry is bad. Therefore, they said across the board, pull every John, every sex worker, every brothel, close them all down. A month later, okay, for those of you that think the sexuality is a bad thing, a month later, and double check the facts yourself. Okay, across Sweden, the chiefs of police walked into the government offices and went, okay, we did what you asked. We pulled all these workers off the street. We arrested all of them and shut them all down. We're done. They're all being put out in the street again. You won't, we'll red light a district and leave that. But we're not closing them down because violent crime rose 700% in 1 month. Now, absolutely, you know, the reality is, do we require, in my opinion, and you'll notice that's my opinion, okay, red light a district. Tell people that is what that district is. Keep an eye on it. Keep the police in it. Keep the medical facilities in it to check and make sure disease is under control. Because we know that disease is transmitted in that fashion. But then, if you don't like that type of thing, stay out of the area. I don't like bars, so I don't go to the bars. Okay. I don't get along with a lot of people in churches, so I don't go to the churches. Okay. The thing is, that industry is necessary. Okay. By the way, the other industry that goes hand in hand, abuse and, you know, slavery and murder, those are industries that we really don't require. Okay. Not in my opinion, anyway. And this does not mean that some people don't upset me. No, I kind of figured that, Philip. You know, The reality of it is, from what I have seen around this world, everything in moderation. Now, we do require laws. Now, let's get back to this thing about manifesting. Okay, I mentioned this issue about personal policies. One thing I have come to discover, you put your policies down on paper and your life will run more smoothly. For instance, one of the biggest things I found helped immensely was not picking when to go to bed. It was picking when to get up. Okay, because I get up, like I do my best to be up at 5 o'clock. Okay, sad to say, like this morning, well, what was this morning? This morning, yeah, I went to bed at 12:30. No, I went to bed at 11 o'clock. By 12:30, I was up. I was up from 12:30 until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then went back to bed and grabbed a little more sleep. Honestly, Philip, I have no idea. I don't look there at all. I don't look for them, so I haven't checked. Okay. Do I know there is that kind of a trade in the city? Absolutely. But it's way away from where I live. Thank you very much. Some of the best people I've ever met worked in that industry when they were younger. Okay, either by choice or by necessity. Okay, this is what I mean by I won't look down on anybody unless I'm taller than them or standing higher up, physically speaking. Okay, but there's an old saying that goes, that literally goes, there but for the grace of God go I. Meaning, if I'd made the wrong choices, I could end up in the same boat. Oh, funny thing is, I do know for a fact that I played, I call it a fact. Some of my lifetimes were a whole lot less polite than others. Okay, but here's the thing. Whatever you were in a past life, whatever you remember from past life, whatever you remember from this life, everybody has a shadowed past somewhere along the line. And then you have people like Shadow and Sun who literally bring their past into the present. Because Shadow and Sun bring their name, Shadow, into the present. By the way, Shadow is one of those people that is really nice. He's just nice across the board. Okay, but when you're looking at manifesting your world, take a look at what your world is. And I strongly encourage you, okay, take a sheet of paper. Take a look at what you've got, what has to be changed, what you're not content with. Manifestation 101. Pick the first thing you're not content with. Okay. Oh. I'll have to move that, but that's okay. Take the first thing you can think of that you're not content with and write it down on that sheet. So right off the bat, I look at this. My office desk is not completely cleared. So the first thing I mark here is my office desk. So I can get it cleared off because I got to get this started and moved out of the way. But it boils down to, if you're not content with your life the way it is, you manifest it by taking dominant control. Not by going, well, it'll change in time. Okay. Do not go with the idea, well, if I put it off until tomorrow, maybe it'll get better. Might. Tomorrow never gets here. There's an old saying that goes, today is the tomorrow we talked about yesterday. Today is also the yesterday we will talk about tomorrow. Which means today is the only time you can do anything. Okay? It's the only time you can manifest a single thing. What do we got here? Yeah. Phil's just going, Walmart isn't the best place to go people watching. I can say that. I can say this from experience. I've been a Walmart associate. It's weird to me that we were to, I believe that is supposed to greet everybody. Yeah, call everybody by their first name. Okay, I'll tell you, very seldom do I call people by their first name comparatively. Primarily because I don't remember them. Okay. But I will tell you this. When you're dealing with other people, and ask yourself the same question. When you're dealing with other people, using their first name in a conversation while you're talking to them is one of the most powerful conversation techniques that you can utilize. Ask yourself this. Do you prefer being called by your first name, by a term of endearment, by strangers? I mean, obviously, well, at least I think it's obvious. Most people being called by a term of endearment by that special someone, they like that. But do you prefer being called by your name or by some derogatory term or just, hey, you? Which one makes you feel more accepted? More empowered, if you will. So we talk about manifesting. I gotta get that sorted around. Let's get this out of the way. Because this is what I'm working on. I've got a couple of days to finish it, so I've got to work on it today. Oh, yes. This is that other thing. When we're talking about manifesting your life, okay, where it comes to inner voice enterprises, the reason I do it this way is to show you by example what I'm talking about. If you're looking at starting a career, okay, starting a business, know what you're going to be offering. Okay, bearing in mind, I'm starting out building a publishing company. Okay, and what do we got here? Yeah, Philip goes, we had name tags with a first name. I was supposed to call the manager Kevin. I have no idea what his last name was. Well, that's okay. Half the time I don't know what my last name is. I know when I was growing up, I had trouble with it because I got called just about everything under the sun. And some of it was repeatable in polite company. That football is an interesting concept. And I never even really thought about it, but it does make total sense. Okay. And if I could chalk that all up to the fact that I remember people from past life, I've met a lot of my past life associates. Oddly enough, a massive majority of the ones I met this lifetime, 400 years ago, I burnt at the stake. Now, yes, I was a warlock working for the government, but I found a twist on it that I made a lot of money the government didn't really pay attention to. Okay, but some of what I'm going to be dealing with where it comes to inner voice enterprises is proofreading at... Well, then I don't want to talk to you. We're an unknown caller. Well, then don't phone me. Okay, phone me. Let me know who you are. This works out better. Okay, I will be dealing with proofreading, editing, publishing, finding a printer. I've already got a printer lined up. Well, yeah, that's another one. I'm just not going to put it that way, football. I said, I'm not interested in it if it's an unknown number. And football goes, or you don't give a meep. Pretty much. Okay. But I am looking at, I was talking to, well, this one chap I've started co-writing another story with. We're going to take that, turn it into a story, then turn it into a screenplay, and eventually I will, and this sounds really far-fetched at this stage, especially when you realize that I don't have the money or the technical background right now. I'm going to end up breaking into producing, producing films and that sort of thing. Do not like hiccups. Way down the road. Okay, but that's because of the fact that I feel it's necessary. You know, so I've just decided I've tried working with the big companies. The big companies don't look at people, from what I've experienced, as people. They look at them as a dollar bill or as a number. Okay, and this is one of the things that I have a big problem with. Okay, so with this in mind, when we talk about that, these are just different things that I'll be dealing with. Okay, and I've already worked out percentage splits and what have you for the products that I do get into printing. Okay, where it comes to the newsletter, that boils down to whether it's an email or a hard copy version. Doesn't matter. It still goes out for free. Now, this funny little file can go back where it belongs. What have we got here? There we go. Okay, now, that's the first part of the thing. Is the manifestation. It does not boil down to, is it going to happen? Because I'll tell you, you can keep dreaming that you're going to be wealthy. You can keep dreaming that you're going to win the lottery. Okay, this is a fantastic idea and have a happy with it. But I will tell you this. Okay, if you put the effort into it, you will make far better headway than if you don't. Okay, now what are we on? Today is the 11th. I gotta see what the date is coming up. But I better take a look at that. But okay, anyway. Now let's talk about destiny. Is destiny what's going to happen regardless? Is your life preordained? No, but thanks for the plan. Okay, in my opinion, if it were preordained, I'd already be dead. Okay, I was already diagnosed dead. It didn't take, so I left the morgue. But when we're talking about destiny, it's not a question of, is it preordained? It's a question of, there's where the light is pointing. This is your best option at this point. Doesn't mean you have to go there. Okay, you get a plate of food put in front of you. You get the choice. You can eat the meat. You've got meat, potato, and veg, and your meat, your starch, and your veggies. Now, do you have to eat it all? Well, that depends on who you talk to. But whether you eat meat first, all of one dish first, whether you eat it one fork at a time, whether you take two of one item one at a time, or what, the method of eating is your choice. The destiny, or the destination, if you will, is how you determine where you're going. Phil's just going, maybe they had a specific discount offer willing to take your payment for a timeshare on the moon. Yeah, I don't argue that point at all. The funny thing is, the people that came up with the concept of timeshare, they painted a beautiful picture. You pay 3 months rent, and I'll give you 2 weeks to live in this house. We just have to schedule around it. But for you to get 2 weeks, I'm going to charge you the equivalent of 3 months of rent and call that a good deal. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this is no longer a good deal. Okay, well, what do we got? There we are. Because I'm looking at it and going, yeah, so, and you're right there, Philip. Some of these little offers and the wins, it's great, but look at the fine print. I remember one issue where there was a lottery that came out that said, it's $100. It's $100 for a ticket. And if you win, you get a brand spanking new Lamborghini. Okay. And the tickets sold like wildfire because you're looking at a $70,000, $80,000 car. Well, they forget to tell you, first of all, that, yeah, you may win that, but now you got to pay the insurance tax on it. Good luck for that. But what they did was they took a picture of a Lamborghini. They showed this picture, and it was the full size, and that's what they broadcast. What they didn't tell you was that they took a picture of a Matchbox car. So you paid $100. Hey, you won a Lamborghini. And they ship you the car. It's a Matchbox car. You paid $100 for this. Okay. This is the thing about these wonderful sales. Now you desire to make a world that's better for you. Time to start figuring out what better is. Oh, Joe's just going, I had a strange incident happen to me a while ago at my church. After Mass was over, I was still ticked at what happened. And you're going to have to fill us in. Well, you don't have to. I mean, that's a great way to leave it, but it does leave us a little confused. Yeah, Phil goes, I bought a lottery ticket the year I turned 21. Did not win, didn't buy another one. Don't blame you there. I bought them for years, on and off. But about 6 years ago, I bought an entire sheet of scratch and win. Out of the entire $20 sheet, we got $2 back. Okay, we haven't paid for it. We haven't bought a ticket at all. I've always sworn if I win the lottery, I'm the luckiest person on the planet. Because number one, I found the winning lottery ticket. But you desire to win the lottery. Take a look in the mirror. There's the person to bet on. Okay, that's the person who can put the effort in and make things happen. Now what we have to remember is if you desire your life to change, you're the one that's got the ability to change it. You're the one that can get up and make it happen. Yes, you may require guidance. In all likelihood, you probably do. Okay. Just got to mark something down here. Again, this is just things that come to mind that I got to check as soon as I get done. Really, I've got that there already, but so I will have to take a look at that. So I mean, when we're looking at your destiny or your destination, all you have to know is not where you're heading. You have to know where are you standing right now, and are you content with that location? If you're happy with your life the way it is, don't bother changing it. But at the same time, if somebody else is telling you your life is, you're miserable, okay, their opinion. If you're looking at going, I'm content, do understand if you're being beaten black and blue, you may not recognize it, even if it's a metaphorical thing. Okay, but it's up to you to change the way you're handling your life. Phil's just saying, someone saw my lottery ticket and said something like, why'd you buy that? Don't you know that's a stupid tax? Well, the reason people buy lottery tickets is because you get a dream painted. You buy this little ticket and your life will change forever. Well, here's a newsflash. When I was younger, okay, I'd be in my late teens, early 20s at the time. And the neighbors were they seemed to be an absolutely rock solid kind of couple. Really nice young lad and young lass. They won a $10 million lottery. And you know how money makes everything better? $10 million in their hand like that. A week later, they were separated. A month after that, they were divorced. Good trade-off. Get $1 million and get $10 million and lose your partner. I don't know about you, but all the money in the world does not make up for that person to wake up next to and say, hey, I'm having a rough day. I had a rough day, or I'm looking at having a rough day. Gee, it's really nice to have somebody to share quality time with. My guess is, and it's only a rough guess, you could, on a $10 million prize, you're likely going to lose $3 to $4 million of it. Just like that. Now, I will tell you, $6 million in my hand is going to mean I never worry about finances again. Of course, in all fairness, $100,000 in my hand will make the same impact. But you're looking at I think at 10 million, you're looking at a 40% tax bracket. The stupid part is you get up to $100 million now a year income, and it seems like the bottom drops out of the tax bill. This does not make any sense to me. Okay. But when we're looking at your destiny, at your destination, you pick what you desire your life to look at. Okay. You don't even have to really know what you desire it to look like. You have to decide what you desire your current life to change from. Now, I have played with the idea of upgrading my wardrobe, and I may well get around to it. But the more I think about it, the more I realize this is who I am. I know I walk into a high-class restaurant and they go, only people with suits and a black tie can come in. I'll look at the restaurant and go, it's really not worth it to me. Okay? Because I'll tell you, the minute people start looking at my wardrobe and going, that's what makes you a better person, talk about judgmental on their part. Okay? I do not myself. I look at people and go, okay, however you're dressed, providing it is socially acceptable. In other words, because in the Western world, wearing clothes is kind of necessary, what you're wearing doesn't matter. However, I never worked in a fashion clothing store. I still look, I know what I like when I see something. And I will tell you where, for me personally, the thing I find is most women I find for me look better with long hair. That's a personal call. This does not make any difference as far as other people go. Some people like shorter hair, that sort of thing. Yes, it absolutely is their football. Okay, and football's just saying fashion sense is a skill you develop. I developed a bit of a rougher edge that went, this is what I'm wearing. And that started because I grew up colorblind. So it was like, like the color of what I'm wearing, you best pick something else. Keep me out of dresses, I'm not wearing them. Okay. Just not going to happen. I won't even wear one for a costume. But fashion sense is definitely something you develop. So, by the way, is diplomacy. And I figured out that I am very diplomatic. More dip than diplomatic, but no, football, in all fairness, I'm not. I still have trouble with yellow and some of the half shades, but I can actually see a lot of different colors now. And to answer the question you're about to ask, when I broke my arm back in 2004, okay, when I broke my arm back in 2004, an overdose of anesthetic and morphine kicked my eyesight and my color vision back into view. And net result, 3 years later, I could see color. Okay, I will never forget driving through the mountains, and I've been driving through it, for months. And then all of a sudden, we're coming through the mountains, I'm going, that grass is green. And the girl beside me goes, well, it's always been, wait a minute, you were colorblind. Growing up, I saw gray, period. The only way I ever knew that women were wearing makeup was if they went to the Tammy Faye Baker School of Makeup, makeup and artistry. Meaning, they had to use a spray gun and a spatula to put their makeup on thick enough that I could see it was a thicker layer. What do we got here? Speaking in Western wear, rodeos have dress codes too. You have to dress as a cowboy. Ladies too. Every competitor has to dress as a cowboy. Makes more sense as dressing as an astronaut. Yeah, really, it does. And this is the thing. I don't mind, dressing like a cowboy really didn't bother me. I wear platforms anyway. I don't wear a hat often. I did show one the other day that I do have. But I'm telling you, finding a hat that fits me is a royal pain. My biggest issue with going to rodeos is, frankly, I was afraid of the horses. And that made it impossible to go and enjoy myself. But when we're talking about your destiny or your destination in life, your destiny is not preordained. That is up to you, and it changes every moment of every day. Or more to the point, it has the opportunity to change every moment of every day. But that opportunity is yours. You pick whether you're content with where things are going. You're the one that's got to deal with the consequences. But remember, if you're younger, if you're still classified as a child in the world, in the country in which you're living, remember, your parents likely have a say on what you're up to. Okay, when you reach the age of majority, when you become what your community calls an adult, that's when you have dominant control over what you do. And that may still be guided. Oh, Philip, I knew that all too well. But, you put when I was younger, you bring a horse within 15 feet of me, even if I didn't hear it coming. My hands would shake so bad I couldn't hang on to a coffee cup. And trust me, that's a travesty. Yeah, Derek goes, I developed a habit. Sometimes I wear high heels when I'm feeling froggy. Desiree likes to cosplay. Definitely fun times. By the way, hello everyone. Hey Derek, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And when I was younger, I used to get dressed up for Halloween, but I never did cotton to the idea of the cute fairy tale type things. Oh, multiple times, but that's not where the fear came from, as it turned out. I remember one time on a horse being kicked so hard that not only did it break my leg, but he ended up trampling me to death afterwards. And that was after he lost his rider. No, my fear of horses, as it turned out, came from being chased down by a bull. I know, doesn't make a lot of sense, but what the heck? Yeah, but horses are one of the nicest. It is, horses are one of the nicest, most majestic animals, and certainly one of the gentlest creatures you run into on a good day. On a bad day, you're in trouble. But yeah, over my lifetimes in war, I got killed by horses a lot. More often by people, by the way. I mean, from my standpoint, I didn't. I ended up the best one I pulled off, and I've showed you guys this before, but I ended up getting dressed as a road warrior one day. Scared the daylights out of the cops when I got stopped at a roadblock, though. Nina, how you doing? Glad you could join us. When we're looking at your destiny and your destination, if you will, very necessary you realize you've got control over it. That's the critical factor. Okay, from your standpoint, just take a look at it. If there's something in your life you desire to accomplish, you have the ability to do it. It may take more effort. It's going to take some time to figure it out. But what you do is look at everything you're doing and anything that does not point in that direction. Start rearranging the energy. Okay, I decided I'm building an empire. I've already got the template laid out. See, I found the same thing with gaming, Derek. This is one of the things about tabletop gaming, as in playing Dungeons and Dragons and the like. Okay, by doing that, you get to be a character that you weren't necessarily looked at as. The nice part about it, from your standpoint, is whatever your life is looking like. Time to take a look at your life now and go, am I content? If not, time to manifest your destiny or your destination. Take a look at what you're not content with and start eliminating and start altering those paths. This is just something that we all have the capacity to do. And not one of you is less capable than the next. Some of you may require a little bit more assistance to get your feet on the ground. Well, I will tell you this. When you look at it, horse meat is big in some countries, cat meat and dog meat as well. Somebody developed that gorilla during the Donkey Kong phase. I remember in one game, in the Champions game, I built a character that was a wombat. Okay, but he was a wombat with an attitude. Remember him walking into the middle of a bank robbery, and all he did was he took one look at the bank robber and just popped him on the top of the head. Look at this. We have animals popping all over. So I'm pretty certain we have lions and monkeys and tigers. Oh my. From my standpoint, it really boils down to this. In my case, I'm not content with this idea of living one day, one paycheck to the next anymore. So I'm turning around and making that change. Okay, with a little bit of luck, everything will fall into place properly. But I'm doing everything that I'm functionally able to make it happen. Okay, and one of these neat little things I have to do, let's not break that. We go over here. Just looking for something. Here we are. This is that neat little file I have to finish off in the next couple of days. It's got some questionnaires I have to answer. Okay. Now, what time are we? Okay, I have to take half a moment out because critical issues here. Gotta go get myself a little more water. I will be right back. I sometimes do, as it turns out. There we go. Funny little thing. Temperatures I'm running here, especially with the way my temperature goes. What are we looking at here? Where are we? Absolutely. I agree with that very, very, very much, Philip. Philip's just saying getting a paycheck is better than getting a bill. And I don't mean William Bill Wallace. Well, mind you, yeah. Mind you, the funny part when you mentioned him is I remember that little individual. Oh, yeah, this neat little thing here, Philip, that is a thermos. But when I put ice in it, it will keep the ice solid for a good 2 or 3 days. So, no, this one holds water. Primarily because, well, frankly, I overheat really fast. I will tell you that though I did know of William Wallace, I was not him. Okay, I know I've talked to a few people who said, oh, they were William Wallace. I'm telling you, where it comes to past lives, only one of you was ever William Wallace. Okay. Yeah, there's a saying, when you look at that, Derek, there's an old saying that goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, if I could draw that, it'd be great. Mind you, I do remember about 10 years ago, there was a cartoon that came out called Stickman. Now, to me, it's like, why would you pay to put that on TV? But somebody did. Now, I still don't consider myself an artist, although compared to that, I can probably manage functional. Okay, the nice part about it is that when we take a look at your life, if you're content with it, this is great. But let's start manifesting the destiny you desire to manifest. In other words, figure out what you're not content with. That should be relatively easy. And then start altering things. Like I look at that. Oh, question for you. Today is Friday, I think. Hope today's Friday. Of course, I always have to double check. Yeah, today's Friday. Okay. I really am going to have to take the time to figure things out as far as what topic I'm going to be looking at for tomorrow. Okay. It's funny. Yesterday or on Wednesday, I thought, no, that's right. I thought Wednesday was Tuesday and the Thursday was Wednesday. Gives you an idea how my day goes. Well, Mona Lisa itself, she's an extremely famous painting. An absolutely brilliant painting. But did I paint her? Not that I'm aware of. In all fairness, I don't even remember who painted Mona Lisa. But I will tell you this. Given what I saw one painting go for, I'm not the one to say whether art is really good. I am the one to say I'm not happy with my ability and haven't taken the time to work on it. But you look at where your life is. When we're talking about manifest destiny, we're talking about what kind of a destination, what kind of a future do you desire to have for you? Remember that first rule. Be true to yourself first. Okay? This means take a look in the mirror and go, what would you like to accomplish? I remember one last that I had as a client. Every time she wanted to buy a big ticket item, she would take a block of wood and carve the item. Even to the point of she took a block of wood and carved a 1 acre property that she desired to own. Within a year of finishing and carving, almost without exception, she had whatever she had carved. Now that was taking things to a whole new level in my eyes. But hey, what the heck? Oh, thank you very much, Sir Philip. Turns out Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa and apparently carried that painting around with him all over the place. Wouldn't be a shock. Leonardo was a bit of an odd bird. Okay. But he also got arrested for thinking outside the box. It's a good thing they don't actually arrest me for thinking outside the box, because I still haven't found the dang thing. You know, one day maybe I'll find the box, and if anybody ever finds it for me, let me know where it is. Absolutely, YouTube. Whatever you desire, you can attain. Now, I will tell you this. We have been taught way too strongly about immediate gratification. Oh, I want a TV. It's going to cost me $10,000. It's going to cost me $2,000, but I gotta have it now. So I'm going to pay $5,000 to get it, because I'm going to pay it over a few years, right? If you think about it and you're working out, well, it's going to cost you $1,000 to buy it. If you put $200 a month aside, which is what your payment may be, okay, for 5 months, you buy it outright. If you put $200 into a payment, you're paying for 2 or 3 years. Net result, you're paying $4,000 or $5,000. And that's just rough, bad math. Okay, same thing. I'm building a publishing company now. I'm building an empire. I could go into massive debt to make it happen. I'm not doing that. I'm going one step at a time. Okay. And it's just going to be one step at a time. It'll be a slower growth, but a slower, sustainable growth. And this is the thing we have to take a look at. Okay. If you desire your life to change, it's going to take time. It did not take you overnight, hopefully, to get into the situation you're in right now. I was talking to somebody the other day about the fact they dug themselves into a crater. They were going to go chapter 13 and, start all over again, throw everything out, because it was quick. And then dawned on them, I can put a little bit of kink in, cure part of the problem, and stop the bleed, and then get on track. Okay. And when you do that, all of a sudden, you're sitting in really good shape. Okay. Oh, heaven, I will never buy timeshare. It does not add up for me. Heck, I won't buy a property to live in. I will in time start buying hotels or buying apartment blocks. And yeah, I did say apartment blocks. Okay, but two big things that you got to realize. When I buy one, whoever I put in there as a manager will not be paying any rent. Common concept right now is get a manager in that pays half the rent and still works 24/7 for you. Good idea for the owner. I don't agree with it. I won't do it. So I'm looking at this world now going, are you happy with the way your life is? Okay. I will tell you, going into debt is a bad idea. This does not mean I'm out of debt. It does mean that when I get back to that point, I won't be going back in, because I'll know what I'm up to. I've had to do it because of circumstances that I dug myself into. But I am content to say where I'm living, I'm in good shape for. Okay. And I'm certainly not looking at letting go of it at this point. But timeshares they build is a great thing. Same idea where it came to selling diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Sure they are. but they're a broker's best friend, much closer friend. Philip, you're absolutely right. It was told to me one day by an investor. He goes, look, when you go to buy a property, buy a manageable house. Okay, it doesn't have to be a sprawling landscape. You buy a nice house that gives you enough room to live in. In my case, I'm living in a 1,000 square foot home. I could quite easily live in 1,000 square feet. Okay, he says you buy a little house that's easy to upkeep, and then you buy a great big chunk of property. What you're buying is privacy. Honestly, Cowie, no, I won't. Okay, I will invest in me and I will invest in people. I've already tried to made the mistake of investing in what other people are putting value on. Bad idea, in my opinion. In my experience, I won't do it again. Let's see. Derek is just saying Leonardo da Vinci knew about aliens in one of his Mona Lisa paintings. There are flying saucers in the painting. Yes, Leonardo not only did he know about them, he also had dealings with them. Well, he may well have known about flying squirrels too. I do believe they live in England. No, that wouldn't matter because Leonardo da Vinci was weird. He was in Italy, but they may have flying squirrels in England anyway. But no, my idea is real simple. I will invest in people. I will invest in myself. And I will, and I do now, when I get the money in, I do turn around and buy a GIC. Okay, a guaranteed income certificate. Doesn't pay and doesn't have the potential of paying as much in the way of interest, but does lock the money away so I can't spend it, and then turns around and gives it back to me with a guaranteed amount that doesn't go on to a gamble. Yeah. I never met a flying squirrel. I never hoped to be one. That was a different poem, and that was terrible, but that's beside the point. But no, we are looking at a world right now where each and every one of you. Oh, Philip, I don't know, I forget what country you're in, but a GIC in Canada is a guaranteed income certificate. Now, I work with TD Canada Trust. Okay, and with that, okay, I get 4.2% return in a year. Okay, which granted, I think the one GIC I got is getting 4.25%. But in any event, it guarantees I'll get that amount in a year. It locks my $1,000 away and gives me back an extra $40. But I don't have the option of it losing it. Now, I am absolutely certain that the U.S. also has GICs. Talk to your bank. They don't pay as well as and they don't have the potential to pay as well as what some mutual funds and or stocks have the potential for. But I will tell you, they don't have that kind of potential, but they also don't have the threat. So I mean, from that standpoint, it really boils down to look into them. They are I know up in Canada here, they are a secure investment, which you don't have to worry about losing money on. And I'll tell you, for me, I've invested in mutual funds that were recommended by people, by so-called professionals. Every single investment I've made that wasn't on myself. Okay, wherever there was a potential for earning or losing money, I am 100% accurate. I have lost money each and every single time. When I've gone and put money in bet on my own ability or on a person's ability, or for that matter, in the casino. Okay, 9 times out of 10, I win. Okay, I come out ahead. Every time I've invested in me, I've come out on top. Every time I've invested in the stocks or in mutual funds, I've lost. That's just the reality of it. But at least I don't have to calculate which way the stock market's going to go. Okay, just a thought. Now, I will tell you, like I said, my office was full of stuff that I didn't require. My office desk was. So it's been cleared out of the way. Now I've got a clear desk to work on. Don't know what I'm going to deal with tomorrow. Okay, because tomorrow is Saturday, but I'll figure something out. Usually at the last moment, but if you do have an idea of a topic you'd like to discuss or you'd like to look at, absolutely drop me a line. Either put it in the chat room, drop me a message on email or in the YouTube comments. However you can get it to me. Absolutely. I will more than happily take a look at it. As long as we're not discussing politics to the point of, let's overthrow a government. How about we don't? Okay. The governments of the world, yes, they've got problems. Weird thing. Governments of the world are run by humans. Okay, all of them are. And Semper Fi to you as well there, Black Dragon. I honestly never was in the military. I'm a military brat. My dad and all of his brothers and uncles and grandparents way down the line were military. I've heard the same thing, Philip, and honestly, I won't gamble on them anymore. Because what I found is the people that make money are the advisors, not the stockholders. But I do agree with you, but I tried ones that were private financial advisors, ones that worked for the bank, ones that were just laymen that just suggested things. Never, in any case, did I ever make any money. So I just don't bother gambling with it anymore. Now I look at it going, okay, I know a GIC won't lose money, won't make as much, but money has never been my motivation. But here's the thing. Okay, I'm sitting here with a minimal income, okay, based on my own efforts, which I've got to put much more effort into. But I've got an inheritance coming in that'll sit me in really good stand. Okay, that'll be in the next few months. Plus, in 3 years, I get another major chunk of money. So I have to keep an eye on things for the moment. One thing I will tell you is I decided, I've taken a look at things and gone, I've got to make things happen. But it's going to take effort. I didn't get into this situation overnight. It took a lot of years of procrastination, a staggering number of them. And it's up to you. You can continue procrastinating going, I'm going to wait for the right time to tell somebody, or I'm going to wait for the right time to have a kid, or the right time to go back to school. The right time is now. But make certain you pay attention to what you're doing with the finances. Money are not the be-all and end-all. But I will tell you, they are the second most common cause of a divorce. They're the third most common cause of a divorce. Now let me ask you this. Pop quiz. What is the bar none number one contributing factor in a divorce in the world? The number one contributing cause. Okay. Now I will give you the answer before, and there we have a winner, Henry, right off the bat. Without marriage, you have no divorce. Okay. But here's the kicker to it. Marriage itself is not an easy thing. And a marriage will not make your life easier. It does not solve the problem. And certainly that paperwork does absolutely jack for commitment. You know, money won't make your life better either, by the way. It'll take the strain off other things, and it will certainly afford you it will afford you the ability to look for happiness in a lot more places. In my case, it's real simple. I take a look at money and go, sitting in my hand, it's not doing a lot. Investing in me is absolutely, is absolutely my best investment. And YouTube goes, my divorce was caused because my wife was not on my vibration and she wanted to be a social media queen. Okay, now I will tell you, and I'm not arguing that point at all, YouTube. I do feel for you. I'm a divorcee myself. I will tell you this. Without exception, okay, absolutely football, that is one of the other big contributing factors. Without exception, communication is a 50-50 problem. Whatever led to the problem boiled down to 50% communication problem on both sides of the equation. Yeah, YouTube goes, I'll never get married again. Single for life. I'm a chosen one, 10 minutes to get married. Whoa. I'm a chosen one. 10 minutes to get married, years of pain, divorce. Had to move 10 times while she kept the house. Yeah, see, now here's the difference. When I closed the marriage down that I was in, okay, it cost us less to get divorced and to go back and get the paperwork sorted around to move the children over to live with me permanently. Okay, that it cost us less than it did to get married. Uh-oh. Joe goes, just got a tornado warning for Ortonville, Michigan. But that never happens. I always like the tornado warnings, but here's the thing. I remember I was talking to a chap in Kentucky one day. I was lucky. I didn't get divorced because of fidelity or finances. And no, I'm not going to tell you what it was, but I will tell you I'm still friends with her and with my ex-wife. And she's still got communication with both our kids. But no, I had a client on the line years ago. I was on the phone when a tornado warning came through his area. Okay. I mean, it was priceless, his outlook on the thing. Because he had phoned, he was wondering when he was going to get work. And my comment was, I said, I don't know how soon, but work is about to land on your lap. You're going to be swamped with work. Now, understand, he was a construction worker. And no sooner did I tell him that than we get this absolutely annoying, horrendous roar come across the background. I said, what, pray tell, is that? Okay. And I said, what, pray tell, is that? And he goes, that's a tornado warning. I said, well, I think you're done with the work shortage. He was a carpenter. Philip, much as a Caborn is not my wife, I am tied to Esau, which is this planet that we're living on. You know her as Earth or Gaia or Mother Nature. We have a definitive connection, but it's not a soulmate thing. It's a much more complicated connection, if you will. Okay, but no, my other half right now is living south of the border. When I move her up here, I will end up marrying her. I've already warned her. Okay, and like I said, I don't know for certain if she'll say yes, but I am certain that I'm going to ask her. Okay, like I told you, she was worried that she was on deadline. I said, you are. I die before you get up here, I'm not marrying you. And if I die before you get up here, I recommend you don't marry me. But other than that, from my standpoint, it's very simple. You desire your life to change. It's time to put the effort into it and make it happen. Don't worry about your destiny, as in what is preordained, because none of it is preordained. Okay? It really isn't. What is preset is a contract you're told that you're signing before you get here, is a contract to gain certain wisdoms. The easiest one to lay out is, let's say you chose to gain wisdom around cancer. Not that I'm aware of, Philip, but I do know that the morticians and the medical and the mortuary technicians are not trained to handle the dead getting up and leaving. They're just not. They're trained to handle the ones that hiccup, that burp, that that fart, that accidentally, that twitch, that once in a while sit up. But they are not trained to handle the ones that get up and leave. Okay. Gets worse when you realize when that happened in my case, it was a year, maybe a year and a half after the original Dawn of the Dead came out. Now, to say the least, this explains why the poor tech passed out. But when you take a look at your life, okay, lay out the path. You pick what you're not content with. Okay, like I was trying to say there and got myself sidetracked. If you're coming into this world to gain wisdom around cancer, okay, your actions, your choices, your diet and exercise and what have you will determine whether or not you gain wisdom around cancer by developing it or by working with people that are suffering through it. Either way, you'll gain the wisdom around cancer. In my case, I don't know. I think I decided I was going to try a whole pile of different methods. Because I can think of, well, let's see. Death by astral travel, by fever, by poison, by electrocution twice, by drowning, by overdose, by heart attack. Basically, it was a pretty rough run. Oh, and by epileptic seizure. Actually, in all fairness, the heart attack is questionable. Not whether I had one, but whether I was actually dead by one. But that's okay. I've tried a lot of different methods. Needless to say, my outlook on death is pretty limited. And this is also why I tell you, however you got to where you are, whatever you've been through, okay, you're still in the exact same position everybody else is. You're right here, right now. And this is the time to really change the way your life is going. But it's up to you to do the work. Henry, just a thought. But if you have a tendency of finding people that have verifiable mental illness, aside from the fact they're female and human, which, by the way, is a flip side problem that many have. They're male. I had one woman. Why is it that every guy I date, is problematic? I says, well, you got a problem. They all have two things in common. They're male and they're human. This makes them emotionally stupid. And yes, I realize that I'm male. Oh well. Yeah, and Philip goes, I've read some hilarious science fiction fantasy stories where someone poses a body in a mortuary. Oh, when someone possesses a body in a mortuary, gets up and walks out. You should try it once in real life. It's a rush. No, don't do that. Definitely not a good idea. Okay, the nice part about it is whatever brought you to where you are, now is the time to make a list of the things you're not content with. Start moving them out of the way. If you're not happy with it, make a change to it. Because when you eliminate all of the things you're not content with, whatever you're left with is the life you're happy with. Here's the nice thing there, Henry. There's no question you're empathetic, but it's your choice whether you draw people to you that are completely off or not. Okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're not off or not. What I'm telling you is you can, by taking, again, and I know this sounds like way too simple, take a sheet of paper, write down literally all the qualities that you see as making the perfect partner. Now, do understand, I would recommend one of your top qualities, because it's easier to identify things you don't desire than it is to identify things you do. But I strongly recommend at the top of your list, must not have a verifiable mental illness. Just write it right in there. I put 50 things on my list. Okay. And I've got the partner. There were a couple of things I could have eliminated, but they just don't matter that much to me. Okay. The best one I heard of was a guy that put 100 things on his list. Now, we know he was a multimillionaire because he put this list of 100 things on the front page of a national newspaper in the United States. And he listed off all 100 things. At the top, he wrote, looking for a wife. At the bottom, if you don't meet each and every one of these qualities, don't call. The guy ended up married less than a year later. That is quite possible there, Philip. Yeah. And the sad part there, Henry, I mean, I really feel for you. I'm really happy that you found somebody that fits. Okay. You find somebody that is just straight run of the mill. I'm telling you, there's a certain amount of shall we say, spontaneity that may get lost in the process. I'm a firm believer that it's one of these things that we have to take a look at and go, what am I looking for in my life? What am I content with? Okay. And then turn around and make this happen. Okay. But it really boils down to altering things so that you no longer have that kind of a problem. Now, this is why I say when we talk about manifest destiny, I'm talking about manifesting your destination. Write out what you're aiming for, what you're not content with. It's easier to spot what you're not content with than it is to figure out what you're really happy with or what you might be happy with. One of the things I put was I did not desire an alcoholic. Okay. I also specified, and yes, call this shallow. I did not want somebody that was extremely overweight. And, I looked at it and went, I put that in my qualifying qualities. I also looked in the mirror and went, you're 256 pounds. That ends now. Okay. I'm currently dropping weight. Okay. Yeah, Philip goes, I bought a relationship advice book for people on the autism spectrum. It advises we do volunteering because apparently that's where a lot of autistic people met their spouse. And I got no problem with volunteering. Okay, actually, I recommend it. I don't volunteer because I don't leave my house enough, and I'm not about to go down there and watch that kind of fiasco. In my case, I just don't deal with people in public that well anymore. Yeah, and that's just it, Chad. Chad's just going, I've been putting a lot of my stuff on shelving units in my apartment, and it makes it a lot less cluttered. As you clear things out of the way, you'll find that freeing up that energy flow will really help your energy levels and your sense of self-esteem, your sense of self-motivation. All of this plays into part. Okay. And it simply boils down to how do you alter the things to make your life better? And I don't mean according to other people. I'm talking about what you're not content with. That's the critical factor you got to look at. Okay, and this is just literally where we're looking. Where are we here? Yeah, Chad's going self-esteem and self-motivation, definitely. Yeah, looking back up here. Henry goes, she's a goofball and a dork and very awkward. And I love her to bits. The funny thing there is she may be a bit of a goofball, but here's the thing. Every single person I know, you are all, whether you want to and whether you desire to or not, doesn't matter. You're going to get older. Period. That's just the way that goes. It's up to you whether you're old, whether you get old. Now, if your other half happens to be a bit of a goofball, she's hanging on to her childhood and to that childhood side of her. And that is a real bonus. Philip's just adding, my grandma and grandpa on one side met each other while working in a hospital. They were both autistic. So I thought the advice rang true, at least in my family background. And absolutely, in my family background, mom and dad met. Dad was in the military. Mom and dad met in March of 56. In August of 56, they were married. Mom moved straight out of the home, out of her birth home, into the matrimonial home. And 1 year, almost a day later, they ended up with, 9 months later, they ended up with their first son. The thing is, in 60 years under the same roof, they never fought once that I'm aware of. I don't recall them ever even having an argument. So do I know it's possible to have a stress-free home, or more to the point, a fight-free home? Absolutely. But the reality of it is this. Everybody meets in their own way. The trick is to get to know the person before connecting with them, before really committing. But once you make that commitment, stick to it. Marriage is not an easy thing. It doesn't solve problems. And I will tell you, pregnancy does not solve problems. It amplifies what's already there. But what we look at here, you desire to manifest a better destination, start identifying what you're not content with. As you change the energy around that, all you're left with is what you are content with. Net result, you have a life that is much happier for you, much lower stress, much higher energy levels. Okay. Now, what am I looking at? And we are hitting the 2-hour mark here, guys. With that in mind, I really want to thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. I don't know what I'm dealing with tomorrow. I'll figure that out. But I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.